All right, it's right at 6:30. So I'm just going to say hello. Good evening. Thank you for coming. You are going to hear a lot of information today about some rule changes. Carolyn's going to go through the rules in detail. I'm recording this meeting, so I will send you exactly everything you've heard in a follow-up email, so you can listen to it again. She will have time at the end for questions if you have any, but it might be after you review the video the second time that you come up with questions. If that happens, just email one of the two of us, and we will get back with you.
And also, I just wanted to mention too that we have the chat section too. So if you want to type your questions in, or even as I'm going through the rules, if you have any questions, just feel free to go ahead and ask them. I want to thank all of you for taking time out to spend some time with me after a long day caring for children. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate everything all of you have been doing, especially for this long 13, 14 months now. And I'm sure your families appreciate you as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started because I know your time is precious, and I'm sure all of you have not had a time to have dinner yet. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So basically what this is going to be about is reviewing some of the 2021 rule changes that came into effect in February. And I hope that all of you had an opportunity to read over the summary of rule changes, and then also to go ahead and view the rules rollout modules that are on the DCDEE website. Tonight, I am not going to go through every single change and revision that was on the summary of the rules. And that's this document that can be found on our website. But we are going to cover probably the ones that have changed the most and probably affects you the most. Some of the information on the summary rule changes, a lot of it has to do with wording, changing some words, revising the way the rule is stated. But tonight we're going to spend, like I said, the time on the ones that right now are probably most important to you and for you to have information about. So this occurred in February 2021 because the commission went ahead and reviewed the rules that came into the rules that were revised and came into effect in 2017. And additional rules were added because of a result of rulemaking petitions that have taken place since 2017. And like I said, there's been minor changes such as technical wording and reorganization of the rules and descriptions to clarify existing text. So Jamie, if you'll go ahead and switch the slide. So for tonight, this list are the main ones that we're going to focus on today. And the first one is the Childcare Rule 1703. That one is about ongoing requirements for family childcare home operators. Childcare Rule 1718, which is requirements for daily operations. And then 1721, that is the requirements for records. So these three sections are the ones that we're going to focus on tonight. Okay, so the first one is Rule 1703, ongoing requirements for family childcare home operators. This right here is 1703F. For every, and this is a new section, for every 3 hours accountable technical assistance provided, 1 hour may be counted toward annual training requirements set forth in subparagraph B1 of this rule, not to exceed 50% of the total required, so long as, so you can use this if you're a family childcare home and you have a 3 to 5 star rated license, and the participating operator or staff member has earned at least 18 semester hours in early childhood education. And that would not include the credential, so it would be in addition to your credential. So 1703G states, for purposes of this rule, accountable technical assistance means technical assistance provided to operator or caregiving staff members at a family child care home by a person who has been endorsed by the North Carolina Institute for Child Development Professionals as a technical assistance provider. Okay, so if you're working with a technical assistance provider that's been endorsed by the North Carolina Institute for Child Development Professionals, and you want this to count towards your in-service training hours that you're required to have annually, that assistance provider and you would have to make sure that you have documentation of these 6 items. So that would include a cycle of observation, identify goals based on the observation, a timeline for completion of identified goals, evaluation and feedback for each participant, technical assistance time in the family child care home, and one-on-one consultation with each participant at a time when they are not responsible for a child or a group. Okay, that's a lot right there, a lot to soak in. But basically, this was set up to give you all an opportunity of other ways for you to earn in-service training hours, because sometimes you might have a behavior specialist coming in, or an infant toddler specialist coming in, or even Jamie coming in that's providing TA that's more comprehensive. It's not like going to a 2-hour training. It's ongoing. Normally it lasts a couple of weeks or even a couple of months. So this gives you an opportunity to earn some in-service training hours when you're receiving this technical assistance. But the key is, if you want to get those hours, you need to make sure that the person you are working with is endorsed by the North Carolina Institute for Child Development Professionals. I also want to just briefly talk about number 6, where it says one-on-one consultation with each participant at a time when they are not responsible for a child or group of children. So we know as home providers that could be a challenge because you're working with children. And there's been a question as far as, can that occur at nap time? It can, that one-on-one can happen at nap time as long as you have an additional caregiver in your home that's able to care for the children as you're having that one-on-one consultation. So that can be a challenge for home providers. Another question that's come up is, can it happen over Zoom or does it need to be in person? Consultation, that is one of the items that could happen via Zoom or any type of medium that you have like this. So that is one of the items that does not have to happen one-on-one. So basically, if you're going to use this option for your in-service training, just remember you need to be a 3 to 5-star rated licensed family child care home, and you need to be an operator that has at least 18 semester hours in early childhood education. And what Jamie's going to do is she is going to click on the link, and she's going to show you what the list looks like. And while she's doing that, I am going to go ahead and copy and paste the link in chat so you can see what it looks like.
All right, so this is the list. Should be pulled up. And you can find your county of the technical assistance provider. We have a chat. Let me see. Oh, it's just you.
Yes, just making. Now, one of the things that Jamie mentioned earlier today is when we did the directors with the centers meeting. And Jamie had noticed that her name is not on that list, but we also found out that this has not been updated since August of 2020. So hopefully that will be updated soon, and Jamie should be on there.
Yeah, if you guys call me for technical assistance, we'll still complete these forms, and I will work on getting this sheet updated with DCDEE behind the scenes, but we'll still do the forms so that once I get on this list, you'll be good to go for getting the credit for the training hours.
And one thing I do want to mention to all of you too, just because if you're working with someone that's providing technical assistance and you go and look at this list and the person is not on there, that does not mean that that person cannot provide you. That does not mean that she cannot provide or he cannot provide you technical assistance. They still can, you just won't be able to count it as your in-service training hours. So just because they're not on there, it does not mean that they are not able to provide services for you to support you. It just means that you cannot get in-service training hours for that.
And additionally, especially for family childcare homes, we are available when you are available. So if you need to do an after 6 o'clock technical assistance Zoom session, we are available to do that at Smart Start so that you can have your children home if you don't have another staff member to supervise the children while you're getting technical assistance.
Okay, so let's see.
You on the next slide?
Yep. Thank you, Jamie. Okay. So this again is we're still continuing on Childcare Rule 1703, ongoing requirements for family childcare home operators. And on this section here, 1703H, it states a combination of college coursework, continuing education units, clock hours, or countable technical assistance shall be used to complete the requirements in subparagraph B1 of this rule. So basically, all that is what you already know. The only part that has been added is that piece that says countable technical assistance. That's been added to the list of places that you can get your in-service training hours. Now at 1703K, it states each family childcare home operator shall have a record of countable technical assistance in which the operator and each staff member participates, including copies of documentation, observations and evaluations provided by the person who has been endorsed by the North Carolina Institute for Child Development Professionals as a technical assistance provider. That record shall include the dates and times of technical assistance with the operator or staff, names of all participating staff members, and the name of the technical assistance provider. This documentation shall be on file and current. So what that is talking about is GCDEE has developed a countable technical assistance checklist that you will complete, the technical assistance provider you're working with will complete. So that way you don't need to reinvent the wheel. That document is there for you already. And you would, and here it is right here. Thank you, Jamie. So this form is showing you all the components that you'll be required to document in order to be able to receive in-service training hours. And you would attach that to the record form, just like you do with your training certificates. And I am going to go ahead and put the link into the chat section, so you know where to find it. Again, all these documents are under provider documents on our website. Let me put that one in there. For some reason that one's not going as a link. I'll have to, sorry about that. I don't know why it's not going as a link. I will make sure to email that to you.
I can try to copy it, get in there, see if it'll work for me.
Yeah.
Okay, that worked.
Get it. Thank you, Jamie.
Mhm.
I'd be lost without you.
No, you'd
Okay.
figure it out.
Okay. Now, does anybody have any questions as far as this, the ongoing requirements for family childcare homes and the new section? Basically, the new piece in this is that you have another option as to how you can get your in-service training hours through the technical assistance. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next section, but as we're talking, and if you think about it and you do have questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box. All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is Rule 1718, which is the requirements for daily operations. So here, 1718A2, it says individual sleep requirements for infants aged 12 months or younger shall be provided for as specified in the Childcare Rule 1724A2. A supply of clean linens must be on hand so that linens can be changed whenever they become soiled or wet. Linens shall be changed weekly or whenever they become soiled or wet. Now, this piece that's in bold, it might look familiar to most of you because it was in the rule prior to 2017. And it was inadvertently taken out and realizes that it was taken out and has been put back in. So it says an individual sleeping space, such as a bed, bed, playpen, cot, mat, or sleeping bag, with individual linen shall be provided for each preschool age child that's in care for 4 hours or more, or for all children if overnight care is provided to rest. So that probably all looks familiar to all of you, because I think most of us have been providing care prior to 2017, and you may not even have realized that it was not in there because you already knew that that was a rule. So it has been placed back in. 1718D was already in the rules. It's just been reworded. So 1718D, it says when needed to complete homework assignments, screen time for school-age children may exceed the 30 minutes. So it's just been reworded for our school-age children that may be doing homework that's online. Still want to make sure you're documenting it, you know, that it is their schoolwork that they're doing during that time frame. So the next one, and this is probably the one we're going to spend the most time on, is Childcare Rule 1721, which is requirements for records. The first one we're going to talk about is 1721A. The family childcare home operator shall maintain the following health records for each enrolled child, including his or her own children who are not school age. Now, in that one, it's basically has been amended to clarify the expectation of health records to be maintained for each enrolled child, including the operator's own children who are not school age. This was an existing rule. It's just been reworded for clarification. And then, so 1721A4, for any child with healthcare needs such as allergies, asthma, or other chronic conditions that require specialized health services, a medical action plan shall be attached to the application. The medical action plan shall be updated on an annual basis and when changes to the plan are made by the child's parent or healthcare professional. Sample medical action plans may be found on the division website. And there is the link for that. And I want to say the links are within our rule in the childcare rule book as well. So on this one, it's just been amended to give you more clarification that this needs to happen on an annual basis, or if at any time it's been revised by the medical professional or the parent within that year. The medical action plan shall be completed by the child's parent or a healthcare professional and may include the following: a list of the child's diagnosis or diagnoses, including dietary, environmental, and activity considerations that are applicable, contact information for the healthcare professionals, medications to be administered on a scheduled basis, and medications to be administered on an emergency basis with symptoms and instructions. So if you have any children in your family child care home program, that have this, that have childcare help needs. You want to make sure that you have the proper documents. And as I said earlier, they are under provider documents that you can print them off. And you want to make sure to review them after the parent gives them to you to make sure that all information is there for the safety of the child that you are providing care for. Any questions with that one? So the next one is 1721 again, with requirements of records. And this has to do with the incident report, okay? The incident reports that are completed each time a child is injured or when a child is,
Sorry.
it's okay. When a child receives medical treatment by a healthcare professional, community clinic, or local health department as a result of an incident occurring when the child is in care, the incident report shall include. So remember that incident reports should be completed anytime an incident happens at your family child care home, whether the child receives medical attention from a medical professional or not. The difference is you will send me the ones that within 7 business days, you'll send me the incident reports that when a child receives medical attention from a medical professional. But you do need to make sure that with these incident reports that you have all these items, have all that information documented on there. So a facility, you're gonna want your facility ID number, the child's name, date and time of the incident, who was the witness to the incident, the time the parent is notified of the incident and by whom. And then the piece of equipment that was involved, if there was a piece involved, cause of injury, description of injury or incident, body part injured, where the child received medical treatment if applicable, description of how and where the incident occurred, and first aid received and steps taken to prevent reoccurrence. So if the child does not receive medical attention, again, you still need to make sure you're filling this form out, you're documenting it on the incident log, and you're making sure to file that incident report into the child's file. And Jamie, if you'll just go ahead and pull up the incident report so they can see what it looks like.
There you go.
You need to also make sure that it's signed by the parent and the parent gets a copy of it. Okay. So that's an important piece as well. Make sure it's signed by the parent. Any incident report you complete, signed by the parent, and a copy is given to the parent for their records. Does anybody have any questions about the incident report? Okay. Rule 1721, requirements for records, also has a section in there about attendance records. Daily attendance records for all children in care, including the operator's own preschool children. The attendance record shall indicate the date and time of arrival and departure for each child and shall be maintained as children arrive and depart. And the attendance record, there is a document located under the provider document section on the DCDEE website. So this is an important piece. You need to make sure that anytime a child arrives, that you are documenting when that child arrives. Anytime a child departs, that you're documenting when that child departs. Now, one of the questions that we have been getting, because what the rule states that if you have a preschool age child in your family child care home, you also need to put them on that record and when they arrive and depart, which sounds crazy or silly maybe. So what you can do is for the arrival time, you would put for your child when your family childcare home opens, okay? And then for the departure time, you would put when your family childcare home closes. Now, there might be some instances, maybe you, your child is part of the NCPK program or the Head Start program, and they are picked up from your home. So what you would do on that, the child arrived when your family childcare home opened, then you document when your child departed to go to school, and then when the child returned, you would need to document when the child arrived, and then you would have to document when the child departed, which would be when your facility closed for the day. So I think most of you are viewing this, and you just might want to maybe look at how you're doing it and what, like I know some of you have a clipboard right there by the door. So when families are dropping off their children right there, you're able to look at the watch or look at the clock and see what time that child has arrived, and making sure to document that information. And then I think that's it on that one. Anyone have questions about that? All right, still on Rule 1721, requirements for records. So program records, including documentation of operator qualifications as required in the section, shall be maintained on file for as long as the license remains valid, except as follows. So all these here under section A are the documents that you want to keep for at least a minimum of 30 days from the time of revision or the time that they've been replaced. That's your daily schedule, your activity plan, your infant feeding plan, allergy postings, SIDS sleep chart, and visual checks. Now with this has already been a rule, but there's been one thing that has been taken off, and that's the menu. So the menu has been taken off this list. Okay, so with B, this is a list of what you need to keep at least a minimum of 1 year from the revision or replacement date. That's your attendance records, your emergency numbers, your safe sleep policy, written plan of care, emergency medical care plan, emergency preparedness and response plan, off-premises and routine transportation permission. And with that, the reason why that is bold is because that the revision there is, it used to be called the field trip transportation. It's been replaced with the wording of off-premises and routine transportation permission. List and identifying information for children being transported, your fire drill log, your lockdown or shelter in place drill log, your incident log, outdoor play area inspection. This is highlighted on the slide because that wording has been changed. It used to say playground. Now it says outdoor play area. Your pet vaccinations and your medication error log. So in this is a rule that this section has been in place. It's just that the menu's been taken off in section A, and then wording has been changed for the 2 items under section B. So short and sweet tonight. You're all very quiet. Either it's a lot of information to take in, or that you all have done your homework and have visited the modules and have reviewed the childcare rule summaries. But does anyone have any questions, or do you need some time to soak this in? Maybe shoot an email tomorrow.
We don't have any chat questions. All right, be honest, was it a lot to take in, or you don't have questions? No questions, Darlene. I saw you shake your head.
Well, while I have you here, I do want to let you all know, if I haven't been out to see you recently, the childcare summary of law has been revised. It was revised January 2021. So if you have not already, go to our provider documents and print that off and get that posted where the families can see it. And then also make sure that any new families that you may enroll, that they are getting in this current summary of the law, which was, like I said, January 2021. I have Chris Updike, who is my licensing supervisor, on this today as well. Chris, is there anything that I missed or anything that you would like to mention?
Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. Welcome, everybody. Carolyn, I think you covered everything as far as I can see and remember. If anybody has any questions, you know, you can always contact Carolyn and we'll get an answer to you as quickly as we can. And thank you for taking the time to participate tonight. I know you all are very busy and tired, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you guys too. You guys are working hard.
Thank you, Chris.
Denise said no questions. Great information.
And like Chris had said, if you do have any questions, just don't hesitate to contact me, whether it be phone call or email. And Jamie, if you'll just switch to the last slide, I'm sure everyone probably already has this information, but it's my contact information.
And in your follow-up email from me, it takes about an hour for this to upload to YouTube. You will also get a SurveyMonkey link. Complete that. And Carolyn is going to take care of sending you your certificates for tonight. But we do need you to complete that SurveyMonkey training evaluation to let us know what you thought of the training for tonight.
Well, if no one has any questions, then we're finished, short and sweet tonight, and gives you an opportunity to maybe get a bite to eat.
Yes.
And get some quiet time before you start all over tomorrow. But I do thank you for everything that you're doing and for taking the time to be part of this today.
Yeah, thank you guys.
If no one has any questions, then I'm going to say goodbye and good night. Thank you all.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.